Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Clueless Drinker. This is again one of those videos where I've already poured the bottle, I've already tasted it, I've already smelt it, but I wasn't really happy with how my video panned out. Plus, having a few sips after recording the review, I picked up on a couple of things that I didn't initially pick up on. Now, getting straight into it, the beer in question is from a brewery that I don't think I've ever tried any of their beers before, and that's Brauhaus Leikeim. And this is the Wintertraum, which translates to Winter Dream. And yeah, this is clocking in at 5.4%. It's got a shelf life of 13th of the 7th, 2016. Ingredients: water, barley malts and hops. So yeah, it's another winter beer. I'm really quite surprised at how many winter beers there are. I never picked up on it until this past month. I mean, I'd seen them, the odd one here and there. But yeah, I'm really quite surprised at how many breweries are doing these beers and how many are being stocked in the supermarket. It definitely looks like a festive beer. It's a bit more simple than others. You're not really getting like a snow-kissed backdrop or anything like that. But you're getting some nice snowflakes. It's got a nice golden red shiny colour scheme. And there is of course snow on the typography. And yeah, really nice colour scheme. It's got that festive sort of vibe to it. It's a flip top bottle. There's the crest. And yeah, it's a festive looking beer. So, beer in a glass. And yeah, it's died down quite a bit. When I first poured it, it was a heap of activity. Poured with like 3 fingers worth of fluffy white head. There's just a lining around the side of the glass now. But yeah, there's a nice constant steady stream of bubbles going up to the top. Beer is nice and golden. A bit on like a burnt orange sort of vibe. Not really, that was bullshit. It's a pretty looking beer. I was expecting it to be a bit more darker, be a bit more on the maltier looking side, like some of the other Winterfest beers that I've been drinking recently. But yeah, it looks like a really nice lager. So, let's have a sniff. It's not the most pleasant smelling of beers. You are definitely getting those savoury notes in there. I am picking up on those earthy barley notes. It kind of reminds me when you get one of those soup mixes that's got a mixture of barleys and lentils. It kind of reminds me of that. There's also like some spices going on in the background. I'm getting some very slight hints of licorice. Almost a peppermint sort of smell as well. And yeah, it smells a lot more savoury than some of the other beers that I've tried of this style. So anyway, let's give it a taste. Cheers. Picking up those malts in there. And once again, the barley malts, you are picking up those like savoury barley, kind of lentil sort of flavours in there. It's quite earthy. It's very bitter throughout. Not to a point where it's too much, but it is a very dominant bitterness all the way through, and it picks up towards the end. That's probably where it becomes a little bit unpleasant. It does leave you quite dry, so you want to take another sip. But yeah, it's savoury all the way through. When I was first drinking this, it wasn't actually too bad. It was a lot more on the savoury side, but it wasn't too strange for me. But as this beer has died down, it's just not very nice. You're getting like a metallic-y sort of flavour there. It almost slightly just touches with the very tip of its small finger the almost Excelsior sort of characteristics. But trust me, I don't think any beers can be as bad as Excelsior. That was probably one of the worst beers that I've drank in my life. The big macro beers taste 10 times better than that pile of shit. But yeah, it's not too pleasant all in all. And I can't really put my finger on those flavours. It just doesn't taste right. It's not got those skunky characteristics. It's just a very unique, very dense. It's really quite heavy for what it is. For this style, and the fact that it's only a 5.4%, it does feel a lot more heavier on the stomach. It's very cold outside, so it does have those like warming properties. It does make you feel slightly comfortable. And it's one of those strange beers where you're not really enjoying the flavours, but it seems to go down really easy. It's really quite sessionable. And yeah, I don't know. Would I go out of my way to pick this up again? I don't think so. But yeah, not really exciting. It is really quite, and as I'm talking now, I've just got like bitter all over. It's an acquired taste. I could see some people actually really liking this a lot more than I am, but I could see quite a few people really not liking this at all. It's like you've got a Hellas lager, just any basic Hellas lager, and an Oktoberfest sort of beer. And it's sort of like a beer that's right in the middle, that bridges the gap. But it's like on that side where it's where the two styles don't really go well together. I'm explaining this beer terribly. So I initially gave this a 7 out of 10. Yeah, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10 because it just has like a sense of real low quality to it. And which is strange because it's not exactly the cheapest of the widely available beers. And yeah, it's not really making me excited about the brewery itself. I've tasted a hell of a lot better winter beers, Winterfest beers, Oktoberfest beers, Märzens. I don't know, it's not really too nice at all. If you were to drink this like ice cold, it'd go down a treat because you get those crisp and refreshing sort of vibes because it's ice cold. But this is essentially at room temperature now. And yeah, it's not a nice beer. So it's a 4 out of 10 from me. If you want to find out more about this beer and the brewery in question, I'll be putting those links down below. If there are any reviews here on YouTube, as always, I'll put those in the description box. And of course, check out my Clueless Trigger playlist for more beer reviews. Also, I will be putting links down below to other Winterfest beers that I've reviewed so far, which are quite a lot better than this one. Really disappointed with this, and I'm actually glad that I didn't upload the video that I gave it a 7 out of 10 because it really does not deserve a 7 out of 10. So guys, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next beer review. Cheers.